What if beneath Egypt's oldest pyramid, there's a hidden underground world stretching for nearly 5.7 kilometers? A labyrinth of tunnels so massive, so mysterious, that even modern archaeologists still cannot fully explain why it was built. No treasure, no clear purpose. Just endless dark passageways buried beneath the desert for thousands of years. And the deeper researchers investigate, the stranger the mystery becomes. Long before the Great Pyramid of Giza dominated the horizon, before the massive monuments of Kafra and Menkaure were ever imagined, there was another pyramid, older, stranger, and far more mysterious. Hidden deep within the ancient necropolis of Saqqara lies the Step Pyramid of Djoser, a structure many historians consider the first true pyramid ever built in Egypt. At first glance, it appears primitive compared to the smooth giants of Giza. Its 6 stacked levels rise awkwardly into the sky like a staircase to the heavens. But appearances can be deceiving, because beneath this ancient monument lies something that changes everything. An underground maze, a vast hidden network of tunnels, chambers, shafts, and corridors stretching nearly 5.7 kilometers beneath the desert floor. And to this day, nobody fully understands why it exists. The Step Pyramid was built around 4,700 years ago during Egypt's third dynasty for Pharaoh Djoser. It was designed by Imhotep, a man so brilliant that centuries later Egyptians worshipped him as a god of wisdom and knowledge. And perhaps for good reason, because what Imhotep created wasn't just a tomb. It was an engineering revolution. Before Djoser's pyramid, Egyptian rulers were buried in flat rectangular tombs called mastabas, simple structures made of mud brick and stone. But suddenly, everything changed. Imhotep stacked these mastabas on top of one another, creating the world's first pyramid, a structure unlike anything humanity had ever seen. But the pyramid above ground was only part of the project. The true mystery was hidden below. Deep beneath the Step Pyramid lies a gigantic underground complex filled with twisting tunnels and chambers that seem almost impossible for such an ancient civilization to construct. The tunnels descend more than 90 feet underground. Some corridors stretch endlessly into darkness. Others suddenly stop at sealed walls. Some chambers contain strange blue-tile decorations designed to imitate royal palaces. And many areas remain inaccessible even today. Imagine standing inside one of these tunnels. The air is heavy. The walls are silent. Every sound echoes endlessly through the darkness. And all around you are signs that this place was built with extraordinary precision thousands of years ago. But why? Why would ancient builders create an underground labyrinth this massive beneath a single pyramid? Officially, archaeologists believe the tunnels were part of Djoser's burial complex, a symbolic underground kingdom for the pharaoh's afterlife journey. But many researchers argue that explanation feels incomplete, because the scale of the tunnel system is enormous, far larger than necessary for a simple tomb. And the deeper investigators studied the structure, the more confusing it became. Some corridors appear unfinished. Others seem to lead nowhere. Several shafts descend vertically into darkness with no obvious purpose. And in certain chambers, archaeologists discovered granite blocks weighing several tons, stones that somehow had been transported underground with incredible accuracy. Even with modern technology, moving such massive materials through narrow subterranean passageways would be difficult. Yet ancient builders accomplished it nearly 5,000 years ago. How? That question has haunted historians for decades. Because the deeper you go into the Step Pyramid complex, the more advanced it appears. Some of the underground walls are lined with limestone so carefully polished they almost reflect light. Certain chambers feature intricate carvings and symbols whose meanings remain debated. And beneath everything lies a feeling that this place was designed for something far greater than burial rituals alone. Some researchers believe the underground network may have served ceremonial purposes connected to Egyptian beliefs about death and rebirth. Others think it may have functioned as a hidden storage system for sacred knowledge or royal treasures. But alternative theorists propose something even more shocking. What if the tunnels had a technological purpose? It sounds impossible. Yet many strange details continue fueling speculation. For example, some sections of the underground complex contain acoustics unlike ordinary tunnels. Even whispers can travel unexpectedly far. Low vibrations seem amplified. Footsteps echo strangely through certain chambers. Could this simply be accidental architecture? Or did ancient builders intentionally design these spaces with sound and resonance in mind? Because ancient Egyptians were obsessed with vibration, frequency, and sacred sound. Priests used chants inside temples. Ceremonies involved rhythmic instruments and harmonic tones. And some researchers believe these underground chambers may have enhanced those frequencies in unusual ways. Then there's another mystery: water. Evidence suggests groundwater once flowed through parts of the underground system. And where there's water, there's conductivity. Some fringe theorists speculate that the Step Pyramid complex may have interacted with natural energy fields beneath the Earth. Others dismiss these ideas entirely. But regardless of the theories, one fact remains undeniable. This underground labyrinth should not exist at this scale for such an early civilization. Because remember, this wasn't built during the height of Egyptian power. This was the beginning, the very first pyramid. Which raises a disturbing question. If the Egyptians could construct something this advanced at the very start of pyramid history, where did that knowledge come from? Civilizations normally evolve gradually. Technology improves step by step. But the Step Pyramid appears almost suddenly, sophisticated, massive, and astonishingly ambitious, as if its builders already understood principles that should have taken centuries to develop. And perhaps the strangest part of all, the tunnels may still hide unexplored sections. Modern scans have revealed anomalies beneath Saqqara that researchers haven't fully excavated. Possible hidden chambers, unknown voids, unmapped spaces buried beneath layers of ancient stone. Meaning after thousands of years, parts of this underground world remain untouched, unseen, waiting in darkness. And if those sealed areas are ever opened, what might be inside? Forgotten artifacts, ancient records, or evidence that changes our understanding of Egypt forever? Because this is only the surface of the mystery. Beneath Egypt's oldest pyramid lies a buried world of darkness, a maze of tunnels stretching for kilometers beneath the desert floor. Some chambers were sealed for thousands of years. Others remain unexplored even today. And the deeper archaeologists descended into the labyrinth beneath the Step Pyramid, the more impossible the structure became. Standing above the Step Pyramid of Djoser, it's easy to believe the monument ends at the surface. But that's the illusion, because beneath the stone layers of Egypt's oldest pyramid lies one of the largest underground structures of the ancient world, a hidden network descending deep beneath Saqqara. Twisting corridors, massive shafts, sealed chambers, and mysteries no one can fully explain. The underground complex beneath the Step Pyramid stretches nearly 5.7 kilometers in total length. To put that into perspective, this hidden maze is larger than many modern subway systems, and it was built nearly 5,000 years ago. The deeper researchers explore the labyrinth, the stranger it became. At the center of the underground network lies a massive vertical shaft descending almost 30 meters underground. At the bottom of this shaft sat the burial chamber of Pharaoh Djoser himself, a chamber constructed entirely from pink granite. But reaching that chamber was incredibly difficult. Ancient builders somehow transported enormous granite blocks through narrow underground passages long before cranes, engines, or modern machinery existed. Even today, engineers debate how such a feat was possible. Because granite is not only extremely heavy, it's also one of the hardest stones on Earth. And yet these blocks were cut, transported, lowered underground, and positioned with astonishing precision. But the burial chamber itself was only the beginning. Branching outward from the central shaft were endless corridors leading into the darkness. Some passages stretched for hundreds of feet. Others split suddenly into multiple directions like a maze. And scattered throughout the underground system were strange rooms unlike anything archaeologists expected to find. Among the most mysterious are the famous blue-tiled chambers. These underground rooms were decorated with thousands of blue faience tiles carefully arranged to imitate reed mats and palace walls. Even after thousands of years underground, traces of their vibrant colors still remain. When archaeologists first entered these chambers, they were stunned, because these rooms looked less like tombs and more like living spaces, almost as if the pharaoh was expected to continue existing beneath the earth after death. The walls themselves seemed symbolic, artificial, a recreation of royal architecture hidden underground. But why create elaborate palace-like chambers beneath a sealed pyramid where no living person would ever see them? Some Egyptologists believe the chambers represented the king's eternal palace in the afterlife. Others think they may have held sacred rituals connected to resurrection and rebirth. But alternative researchers argue there may be another explanation, because the underground layout appears unusually complex for a ceremonial tomb alone. Certain passages seem deliberately confusing. Some corridors suddenly dead-end at sealed walls. Others lead toward chambers that appear unfinished. And then there are the mysterious shafts. Throughout the underground complex, vertical shafts plunge deeper into darkness for reasons still debated today. Some may have been symbolic passageways for the spirit of the pharaoh. Others might have served structural purposes. But several shafts remain difficult to explain, especially because some seem to connect to absolutely nothing. Just empty darkness descending underground. And perhaps the most disturbing mystery is this. Not all of the underground network has been fully explored. Over centuries, cave-ins, debris, and structural instability blocked access to many areas beneath Saqqara. Even modern archaeologists have struggled to map the entire labyrinth. Some sections are simply too dangerous to enter. Others remain sealed behind ancient stone, meaning parts of the Step Pyramid complex may still be untouched after thousands of years. Imagine that. Hidden rooms beneath the desert, completely isolated from the modern world since the age of the pharaohs. No sunlight, no human footsteps, only silence, and whatever may still remain inside. But the mysteries don't end there, because archaeologists also uncovered evidence suggesting the underground labyrinth originally stored enormous quantities of artifacts. Thousands of stone vessels were discovered buried beneath the pyramid, many of them far older than Djoser himself. Some jars carry the names of kings from earlier dynasties, rulers who lived centuries before the pyramid was built. Why were these ancient relics gathered beneath Djoser's pyramid? Were they symbolic offerings, royal heirlooms, or was the underground complex functioning as some kind of sacred archive preserving Egypt's earliest history? No one knows for certain. And then came another shocking discovery. Certain chambers beneath the pyramid showed signs of advanced engineering techniques that seemed unusually sophisticated for such an early period of Egyptian civilization. The ceilings in some tunnels were carefully reinforced. Passageways were aligned with remarkable precision, and sections of the underground structure appeared intentionally designed to resist collapse. This wasn't crude experimentation. This was highly organized engineering, which raises a difficult question. If this was Egypt's very first pyramid project, how were the builders already this advanced? Normally, massive architectural achievements evolve gradually over centuries. Mistakes are made. Designs improve slowly. But the Step Pyramid appears astonishingly ambitious from the very beginning, almost as if its architects already possessed knowledge far beyond what historians expected. And that's where the mystery starts becoming darker. Because some researchers believe the underground network beneath Saqqara may be older than the pyramid itself. A controversial theory suggests parts of the labyrinth could have existed before Djoser's reign, later incorporated into the pyramid complex by Imhotep. If true, it would completely change the timeline of Egyptian architecture. But evidence remains inconclusive. Still, strange clues continue fueling speculation. Some underground stones show signs of erosion that certain researchers argue may have been caused by ancient water exposure over incredibly long periods of time. Others point to unusual structural inconsistencies that don't match the main pyramid design. Could portions of the underground complex belong to an earlier forgotten structure? Or is it simply the result of later modifications over centuries? No one can say with certainty. And perhaps that uncertainty is what makes the Step Pyramid so fascinating. Because the deeper archaeologists go, the less complete the official explanations begin to feel. This isn't just a tomb. It's a labyrinth, a hidden underground world built with extraordinary ambition beneath the Egyptian desert. And even today, after centuries of research, many of its secrets remain buried in darkness. But things are about to become even stranger. What if the tunnels beneath Egypt's oldest pyramid were never meant to be simple burial chambers? What if they were designed for something far stranger, something involving sound, vibration, and forces we still don't fully understand? Because the deeper researchers investigated the underground labyrinth beneath Saqqara, the more it began to resemble not a tomb, but a machine. For centuries, historians believed the Step Pyramid complex beneath Saqqara had a simple purpose: a royal tomb, a symbolic afterlife palace for Pharaoh Djoser. But the underground labyrinth beneath the pyramid refuses to fit neatly into that explanation, because when modern researchers mapped the tunnels in detail, strange patterns began to emerge. The corridors weren't random, the chambers weren't placed carelessly, and certain parts of the underground network appeared to have been designed with astonishing precision, almost as if every passage had a purpose. And that's where one of the most controversial theories surrounding the Step Pyramid begins: the theory that the underground structure may have functioned as some kind of resonance system, an enormous acoustic environment hidden beneath the desert. At first, the idea sounds impossible, but strange details continue feeding speculation. Inside some chambers beneath the pyramid, sound behaves unusually. Even small noises echo with strange intensity. Whispers travel unexpectedly far. Low-frequency vibrations seem amplified by the narrow corridors and stone walls. Modern engineers studying ancient structures have long known that enclosed stone chambers can produce powerful acoustic effects, and the Egyptians themselves were deeply connected to ritual sound. Priests used chants. Ceremonial instruments echoed through temples. Rhythmic vibrations played an important role in religious practices. So some researchers began asking a strange question. Could the underground labyrinth beneath Saqqara have been intentionally designed to manipulate sound? Because certain chambers beneath the Step Pyramid seem almost optimized for resonance. Long narrow tunnels, hard limestone surfaces, granite-lined chambers, all materials capable of reflecting and amplifying vibration. And then there's the granite itself. Granite contains high concentrations of quartz, a mineral known today for its piezoelectric properties. Under pressure or vibration, quartz can generate tiny electrical charges. Modern technology uses quartz in watches, radios, sensors, and communication devices. Now, this doesn't mean the Egyptians were generating electricity underground. There's no direct evidence of that. But for alternative theorists, the presence of massive granite structures deep beneath the pyramid raises intriguing possibilities, especially because ancient builders went through extraordinary effort to transport those granite blocks underground. Why? Why use one of the hardest and heaviest stones available in places no living person would normally see? Some researchers argue it may have been symbolic. Others suspect the material itself mattered. And then came another mystery. Water. Studies suggest groundwater may once have flowed beneath parts of Saqqara. Certain underground chambers show evidence of ancient moisture exposure. And where there is water, there is conductivity. This has led fringe theorists to speculate that the underground pyramid complex may have interacted with natural earth energies, seismic vibrations, or underground water systems in ways we still don't understand. Again, mainstream archaeologists reject these ideas. But even they admit the scale and sophistication of the underground labyrinth remain extraordinary. Because remember, this was Egypt's first pyramid, the very beginning of large-scale pyramid construction. Yet somehow, its underground network rivals some of the most ambitious structures built thousands of years later. That alone makes researchers uncomfortable, because civilizations are supposed to evolve gradually. Primitive structures first, advanced engineering later. But the Step Pyramid appears almost suddenly, complex, massive, and astonishingly organized from the very start. And the mysteries only deepen when we examine Imhotep himself, the architect of the Step Pyramid. A man considered so brilliant that later generations transformed him into a god. Very little is known about his true life. Yet ancient texts describe him as a master of medicine, engineering, astronomy, and sacred knowledge. To some historians, Imhotep was simply an extraordinary genius ahead of his time. But alternative theorists believe the legends surrounding him hint at something more. Because across ancient cultures, stories often describe gifted figures who suddenly appear with advanced knowledge, teaching architecture, mathematics, agriculture, or astronomy. Figures remembered almost as divine beings. Could Imhotep have inherited forgotten knowledge from an earlier civilization? Or was his brilliance simply the result of human innovation? No one can answer for certain. But the questions continue growing, especially after modern scanning technology revealed possible hidden anomalies beneath Saqqara still unexplored today. Unknown voids, buried chambers, spaces hidden beyond sealed stone walls. Meaning after thousands of years, parts of the underground complex remain untouched. And perhaps the most unsettling possibility is this. What if the tunnels weren't built only for the dead? Because ancient Egyptian religion was deeply connected to transformation. The pharaoh wasn't merely buried. He was believed to ascend, to cross into another state of existence. The pyramid itself symbolized that journey, a bridge between earth and the heavens. And some researchers argue the underground labyrinth may have played a ceremonial role in that transformation process. Perhaps initiations occurred there. Perhaps sacred rituals took place in total darkness beneath the earth. Or perhaps the underground environment itself was considered spiritually powerful. The silence, the isolation, the vibrations, the feeling of descending away from the human world. Even today, people entering ancient underground spaces often describe strange psychological sensations: claustrophobia, disorientation, an overwhelming sense of presence. And in chambers designed thousands of years ago with deliberate precision, those effects may have been intentional. But there's one final mystery that pushes the Step Pyramid into truly disturbing territory. Because some researchers believe Egypt's oldest pyramid may not have been fully completed. Evidence suggests certain underground passages were abruptly abandoned during construction. Some chambers appear unfinished. Certain corridors simply stop, as if the builders suddenly changed plans or were interrupted. But why? Did structural problems occur? Did political events halt the project? Or did something happen that forced ancient builders to abandon parts of the underground system forever? No one knows. And perhaps that uncertainty is exactly why the Step Pyramid continues haunting historians and explorers alike. Because beneath the sands of Saqqara lies not just a tomb, but a hidden world. A world filled with unanswered questions. And the deeper we investigate, the stranger it becomes. Deep beneath the Step Pyramid, some chambers were sealed for thousands of years. And what archaeologists found inside only deepened the mystery. As explorers descended further into the underground labyrinth beneath Saqqara, they discovered hidden chambers untouched since ancient times. Inside were broken sarcophagi, ancient stone vessels, human remains, and walls covered in strange carvings. But some passages led nowhere. Others ended behind massive sealed stone blocks, as if something had been intentionally hidden. Even more disturbing, several areas beneath the pyramid remain inaccessible today because of structural collapse and unstable tunnels. Meaning parts of the underground network are still unexplored, completely untouched after nearly 5,000 years. And modern scans continue detecting possible hidden voids beneath the structure, unknown spaces, buried chambers, secrets still trapped beneath the desert floor. Because the Step Pyramid may not just be Egypt's oldest pyramid, it may be the entrance to a forgotten underground world. What if Egypt's oldest pyramid wasn't the beginning of history, but the remains of something already ancient? The 5.7-kilometer tunnel network beneath the Step Pyramid still defies explanation. The precision, the scale, the hidden chambers, none of it should exist this early in human history. And maybe that's the real mystery. Perhaps the ancient Egyptians didn't create all this knowledge. Perhaps they inherited it from a forgotten civilization lost beneath time and sand. A civilization erased from history, but not completely. Subscribe to Mystery of the Ancients and uncover the secrets buried beneath our world. Because the deeper we dig into history, the less human it begins to look.